Today we're going to talk about another common problem with the squat, and that is doing a good morning out of the bottom of the squat. Good mornings are an exercise that a lot of power lifters and a lot of other lifters do to build the lower back and hips, and hamstring, glutes strength. It's a great exercise, but it's not something you really want to be doing when you're squatting. This is what a good morning should look like. Okay. It's a great exercise, again, for your glutes, for your hamstrings, and for your lower back. But it's not something that you want to be doing out of the bottom of your squat, out of the hole of your squat. So here's what typically happens when a trainee does a good morning out of their squat. What happens is they'll be squatting fine all the way into the hole. And then out of the hole, the bottom of the squat, what will happen is their hips will rise faster than their head. So instead of their head rising as their hips rise, the hips will rise first, and then the trainee will have to do a good morning to get the weight up. That's not good. What it does is it typically will throw the weight forward, and then it's very common to see lower back rounding, and it puts your lower back in a really compromised position to try and get the weight up. It also doesn't take advantage of your hips and your hamstring strength, but typically are the strongest movers in the squat. If you see people with an imbalance in quad strength, maybe their quads are stronger than their hips or their hamstrings, that might be another reason why they're doing it. They might also be doing it because they have a tight groin and they're trying to protect that. It's pretty common to see people hunched over, bow-legged when they do squats, and part of that could be because the groin muscles are really weak or inflexible. If flexibility is an issue, there's a few things that you can do. If it's thoracic flexibility, if that's the issue, upper body, upper torso flexibility issue, what you can do is you can start by doing some dislocates with a broomstick. You can use a band too. This is a good one for loosening up the shoulders, swinging back and forth. These are good exercises for kind of loosening up the upper body, getting them ready to be in a good tight position when you're squatting. Another exercise that you can try for the lower body is to lay down in a position. We're used to this position, this kind of butterfly position. That's one. If you lay down and try and kind of force the knees apart, that's a good flexibility developer as well. It's probably going to be, just this alone is probably going to be enough of a stretch. If you move the feet out, you'll be hitting them a little bit differently. Certainly things to try. Also, hamstring stretches will be a good one to kind of loosen up the groin area, getting them ready for squats. Last time on Squat Rex, we talked about maintaining a good tight arch at the bottom of your squat. And a lot of the exercises and techniques and drills that we went over in Squat Rex 1 could definitely be applied to stopping GMing out of the bottom of your squat, out of the hole. Definitely you want to look over some of those techniques again. If you're working with a beginner, someone who isn't used to squatting, one of the things that you can tell them from the bottom of the squat is head up or head back from the bottom of their squat. And just that alone might help them bring those hips through and keep their head back throughout. Otherwise, they might have a tendency to just kind of drive from the hips and then pull the head up. That's kind of opposite what they should be doing. An exercise that you can try for correcting good morning out of the bottom position of a squat are what are called goblet squats. And I'm using a kettlebell here. You can hold it by the horns, or you can crush grip it, or you can just hold it reverse, whatever works best for you. If you don't have kettlebells, you can use a dumbbell just as easily. This is just basically a front squat, and you're holding the weight in front of you and just squatting this way. If you see most kids who are on the playground squatting down playing, they're normally going to have their hands in front of them. And this is a very natural position to be in. Most of the time, as we get older, we just stop using this position, being in this position on a daily basis, and we get inflexible. our groin gets inflexible, hips and hamstrings get tight, and so we kind of lose that ability to do that. Goblet squats are a good place to start to try and regain some of this. Probably should be used in conjunction with some of the things we talked about in Squat Rex 1, where you're standing in a power rack, squatting down, holding onto the power rack, and just kind of working on flexibility here, trying to move the hips back while maintaining that tight arch. Another exercise that you can try to correct jamming out of the hole are really wide stance squats. If you are in a really wide stance, an ultra wide stance, it becomes very difficult to get in a good position to good morning the weight up. So it's a pretty unforgiving movement. It's something you should start out with very light weights, maybe even body weight. But it can be a great exercise to teach someone how to use their hamstrings and their hips when they're squatting, especially if somebody is a quad squatter. So instead of taking a regular squat stance, you're going to take it out as wide as you can comfortably squat. You're going to keep your head up, chest out, stomach tight, just as you would with a regular squat. You're going to try to maintain an upright position while forcing the hips back. Hips back, hips back, hips back. Okay? This is about as low as I can go. And drive up. Now you don't want the knees to bow in, you want to keep the knees out, tracking in front of the toes. So if those knees start to come in, you know you're probably going a little too low. You're going to feel like your legs are being pulled out of their sockets. It's a pretty uncomfortable exercise, but it's a great one for developing flexibility in the hips, in the hamstrings, and teaching you how to use those muscles when you're squatting. Make sure that you keep the weight on your heel throughout. Good morning squat. It might sound ironic that you're using a form of good mornings to help you correct someone doing good mornings out of the squat, but it's almost what you see in reverse. What you see in the gym, someone doing lowering into a squat and then finishing with a good morning. But what we're going to do here is a good morning squat. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower the weight as we would with a good morning, and we're going to sink into the bottom of our hole for a squat and drive out. Okay? Lower into a good morning, sink into the squat, drive up. That's called a good morning squat. Box squats are a great exercise. They're a great supplemental exercise. A lot of powerlifters use them regularly to train for squatting. A lot of athletes use them. You can vary the depth that your squat goes. There's just a lot of great things that you can use box squats for. Box squats can also be used to help correct doing good morning out of the hole as well. You have to be really careful though with box squats. A couple things that you want to make sure that you are careful about. Number one, make sure that you select a good box. Make sure it's a sturdy box. Make sure it's a box that isn't so small that the trainee's trying to find the box with his or her butt, as they lower into the hole. So make sure it has enough surface area. Make sure that it's not wobbly. Make sure that it's well constructed. It's really important. When you're doing a box squat to correct a good morning out of the hole, you want to make sure that the trainee sets up proper position. You don't want them standing over the box. You see this a lot. This really puts the trainee in a bad position because what's going to happen is they lower into the box and their knees are just going to shoot right forward because they're going to be afraid they're going to overshoot the box. So make sure that they're actually in front of the box before they start. Okay? Head up, chest out, stomach tight. You're sitting back into your squat, maintaining good position. Okay? And here, from the bottom, they're going to try and lift their head before their hips. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get started, but if they keep the weight in their heels, their head should rise at the same time, maybe even a little bit ahead of their hips. If their weight shifts to the balls of their feet, it's going to be really difficult to do that. But if they can keep the weight on their heels, driving from the heels, they'll be able to rise in proper position.